Rose.
What up, dog?
I'm Jalen Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together with Jalen Jacoby, what is it that we do?
We get the people.
Yes.
What they want.
Jalen Rose, who is joining us in studio later on in the
Terror
broadcast?
Squad's finest.
Who is joining us in studio later on in this
Joey
broadcast?
Crack.
Fat Joe will be in the building discussing his new album, Family Ties, shortly. But sometimes there's a game that has so many different angles and levels to it that you and I need to go deeper than the box score. Let's get it. We kept saying that this road trip for the Lakers would be sort of a sink or swim road trip. We'll really find out who they are. Well, so far they've been backstroking all over the Western Conference.
I like what you did there.
They played the Jazz, and they waxed the Jazz. LeBron had 20 and 12 assists. AD had 26. AD has now scored over 25 points in 5 straight games, Jalen.
He's balling.
I didn't expect this road trip to start this easily for the Lakers.
Well, and those are 2 tough back-to-backs. Mm-hmm. Denver and the Jazz.
Altitude, travel, all that.
Correct, absolutely. Yeah. And Jazz normally play so very well at home. They had a couple of quality wins this year already playing on their home court. But going deeper into the box score, Rajon Rondo, double-figure assists off the bench, double-figure points. Played well when they put him in the fourth quarter. Dwight Howard, giving him energy, blocking shots, even made a 3-point shot. How about that for a guy that couldn't shoot free throws, worked on his post game? Now he's expanded his game to the point where he's making 3-point shots. And you talked about the stars. LeBron James leading the league in assists. And I'm telling you that the basketball has kinetic energy.
What?
It has kinetic energy. And all of a sudden, when the guy that leads the league in assists is playing on your team, trust me, I played with Steve Nash. And everybody feel like they're going to get the ball. All of a sudden, you're running faster, you jumping higher, you feel better about your role.
They say that, and a lot of people that played with LeBron have said this, that there's a certain pressure that comes with it. Like he's so good that he puts you in position to score that there's a little bit of pressure. It's got to feel so good to be standing there and have LeBron make one of his moves and then give you a perfect pass and then it comes right in the pocket and then you hit the shot and you're running back and LeBron points to you and you point to LeBron. Like that's that energy that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And the Lakers have that right now.
Correct.
Like they're having fun.
And they're not saying this, but they understand how important it is to stack these W's earlier in the season. Because as they get in later in the year, LeBron is in his 17th season. And I talked about this the other day. Players that want to load manage, handle your business in the first 3 quarters if you're that great.
Court, take your shoes off, sign them and give them to a fan. That's how you load manage. That's how you load manage.
That's the league I grew up watching and playing in.
So there is a play that we need to watch here. You know I'm a big LeBron James fan, right? I'm a LeBron James stan. And I'll tell you right now, I see no travel. I see no travel. I see no travel. I don't know what you're talking about. He's just dribbling. That's just a basketball player dribbling. I see no travel whatsoever right there.
I played so much basketball in my life. And once I got to the NBA, I realized something.
What's that?
They don't always call travel.
They don't always call travel.
But you know why, though? I'm going to tell you why.
Oh.
Just like there are times where there are 2 individuals, they both collapse on the ball, and then they both foul the person. The ref will kindly look at you, Hugh Evans or whoever.
Call?
Nah, they'll give the foul to the player who isn't as good as the other guy.
Oh, yeah. That's how it works.
So I'm not giving Jordan a foul.
No. I'm giving Rose a foul.
Correct.
Yeah, of course.
That's how you do that.
So you played in the NBA for 13 years, and you know what? You're a great NBA analyst, but I'm a pickup basketball analyst. And one thing that I like about this no call, he didn't get an advantage. He wasn't going through the lane and taking an extra step. There's no advantage.
No.
That's like, you know what? Like when I play pickup, you're not calling a travel in a backcourt. He got no advantage whatsoever right there.
Jacoby.
No advantage.
Can I teach you something?
No, you can't.
Can I tell you the advantage?
Anything. We've been doing this 8 years. You never taught me anything.
Can I teach you the advantage that he got?
What's that?
All right, can I tell you the advantage he got?
Go ahead.
They kept the possession.
That's an advantage, I suppose. But this isn't even the most egregious travel that we've seen. Let's just take a sec to think back, okay? Let's look back at some of the more egregious travels that we have ever seen. First, we got Bradley Beal here.
I remember that Pistons game. Shout out to G, by the way.
1, 2, 3.
He didn't want to get it blocked.
4. Love that one. And you can't have this without the Carmelo Classic.
I really believe I was at that game.
With the Carmelo Classic, you know, this one I love. This is when he's was on the Knicks, but ended up 7. You know, rocker steps. Is that what we're calling that?
Now you got a little bit older, you know what I'm saying? No breaks. That's called.
The brake pads are worn down a little bit.
Tippy toes a little bit.
The brake pads are worn down a little bit.
If I stop, it's going to hurt.
And I know you remember the Corey Brewer one.
Yeah, that was classic.
Brewer from 2014. See, it always happens on these breaks. I got him. You know what? I always say a travel is only it's not how many steps you take, it's how awkward it looked. Like, that didn't look that awkward. That's what it was. It's at least 5 steps. So you mentioned it earlier, but I want to visit another play from this Lakers-Jazz game as we go deeper in the box score. Is Dwight Howard just didn't hit a 3. Mm-hmm. He spotted up in the corner.
He did.
And watch the jab step. Give him the jab step, Dwight. Get him off you, Dwight. The jab step is my favorite part about this whole thing. And look at Boogie. Sometimes you forget Boogie's on the Lakers.
Boogie! Get
Jalen,
well soon.
What do you think about Dwight Howard hitting the 3?
It's all about great karma as a basketball team. And you and I talk about this a lot. Poor teams, when somebody makes a mistake, they point fingers. They talk bad about one another behind each other's back, and it becomes an argument when somebody calls you on it. Successful teams, and it's not just basketball. This is a business. This is in whatever entity.
Family?
Correct. The successful teams find ways to lift one another up, especially when they're not around. So when this Lakers team gets on the plane, and then each of them go to their hotel room, it's not going to be this 8th man on the team, I don't like his attitude. Or I didn't appreciate LeBron not throwing me the ball the one time I was open. That's the karma that now lends to you being successful and really having a great opportunity to go with your talent to accomplish your goals.
Luka and the Mavericks, 4 straight wins. The latest victim of Luka and the Mavericks was the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Luka, he was only 1 for 8 from 3, mind you. But he did finish with 22 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Jalen, can they keep this up?
I think they can keep it up. If you look at the lower half of the Western Conference playoff race, we don't know what's going to happen with the Spurs. Mm-hmm. The Warriors won't be in the playoffs, obviously.
We kind of know what's going to happen with the Spurs.
Some people wanted to pencil in the Pelicans. Their lottery.
No.
The Kings didn't get off to a great start.
They've been playing better
but they're
lately.
playing better.
They're missing Bagley and Fox right now.
Minnesota is playing better. So these are the 2 teams that probably were not in last year that have a legitimate chance to get in this year. And Wiggins has been balling. So has Karl.
There's been so much discussion about Luka, and he deserves all of it. But there's one stat that I wanted to bring up on the screen that puts him in some very rarefied air, pun very much intended. So this is 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists consecutively. He's done that 17 times in a row. Only Michael Jeffrey Jordan has done it more. So, Jalen, you played in the league. Take us behind the curtain. Like, what is 25 and 5? How hard is that to do?
So, I'm going to show you how the game has changed. And first off, if there's a stat like that and Michael Jordan only has 1 season of it, don't take it too serious.
Oh.
Okay? 25, don't take it too serious. Okay? However, in 2000, I think Jamal Mashburn and I were the only 2 guys in the league that averaged 25 and 5. You progress now. Guys are shooting earlier in the shot clock. Speed of the game.
More possessions.
Picked up. More possessions.
More three-pointers.
And the game has gotten smaller. Guys that were 6'7" and playing small forward in high school and college are now playing the 4.
And more passes per possession, too. You're not just dumping into the block.
Correct. And so based on all of those things, it puts Luka, who's a terrific performer, by the way, we all know this, in a position to do that. And when you don't have those big guys out there like they used to be, those used to be the people gobbling up all the rebounds.
Jalen, I have to say one thing. You know how we all have our guys in the NBA? Mm-hmm. I got a couple new ones. I'm going to introduce you to one later.
Luka's one of your guys.
Well, Luka's one of my guys. Dwight Powell. 9 for 9 in this game. Like Dwight Powell is one of my guys. I love Dwight Powell so much. Jalen, Fat Joe will be right here in studio.
Terror Squad.
Right after this. Stay tuned. Coming to you live from Pier 17, the South Street Seaport, brought to you by Chase. Jalen Rose, who is in the building?
Terror Squad.
Who is in the building?
Is in the building.
Who's in the building?
Crack is in the building.
1/2 of Family Ties.
Fat Joe is here. The album drops tonight, December 6th at midnight.
Off the scene We were just confirming that I'm gonna be like, brother, man. You gotta get a
brother,
window for
anytime
me
you
so I
want.
can
Done.
sneak in through the window.
Done, family.
Like in Martin.
Anything you need.
I mean,
Done.
I love being here and sharing the vibe with you guys. You know, Family Ties out at midnight. Press play on your phone and you will be mesmerized. You know, there's a meme they always show with the popcorn. You gotta be like 11:59 like that.
And he been doing this 26
and
years.
all the guys that said, no, Fat Joe got a hot album. I promise you that album's gonna be hot. Then you could play that meme to go. Got it, go like that.
So you in the news a little bit today. You know, you're promoting the album. You're coming out. You had something to say about Kyrie and KD.
Man, I got so
Said
lucky
they didn't
with that
want the
one.
pressure.
I cross-promoted. I didn't know I was gonna cloud chase KD. Oh my God! I'm getting this social media thing down pat.
But I have to say this. As a performer, you know this. There are different levels to a big stage. And Barclays is a one stage. MSG is a whole nother level.
So you're confirming what I was trying to say. And what happens is, it was all in context with, they was talking about Melo.
Yep.
And I said, well, you know what? We don't give him enough credit because he was willing to come up in the, get in the kitchen, you got to stand the heat. And it must have been hard to see him on the Daily News and the Post every day. You're trash, you're whacked, and
Every
this and
day.
this. That's a big pressure. And a lot of people, whether you believe it or not, no disrespect, God forbid, but there's a reason why the Taliban want to blow up New York. It's the greatest city on earth. There's no doubt about it. And all the money's here. That's why the Garden's sold out, Wall Street, whatever. So I honestly believe, and I respect them, are they superstars beyond? Is Kevin Durant probably the best player in the world? Yes. But they didn't want the heat. They didn't want to come up in there and catch the heat. So I said that. And thank God, KD
Hit you right back. Real quick.
he wanted to smoke. Oh, that's just Joey Crack trying to sell that out. Matter of fact, go get Family Ties. I said thank you.
He put the date on
Thank you.
everything.
I cloud chased him. I finally cloud chased him.
Look at him. He put the date on there and everything.
Y'all went viral. Yo, you know the Nets gave
He
me
hit you
smoke.
from the real account,
The Nets
too.
gave me smoke too.
They did?
The Nets, the actual Nets
Listen.
organization was like, yo, Fat Joe, you just mad. You a Knick fan. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I'm lit.
He ride
Yes.
or die for the Knicks.
That's a fact.
I played there. I've seen you front row multiple times, multiple years. What's going on with the squad this year?
What's happening?
Oh, this is horrible. This is the worst I've ever seen it, to be honest with you. And I went to the first 2 games. I'm not telling you I'm not going to no more games this season.
Oh, I'm not going games.
But I went to the first 2, and my stomach felt like it was eating my stomach. Like I was catching high blood pressure. And for the first, and it's been some horrible Knick teams, but for the first time in my life, I went to the scorer's board and didn't argue, but almost argued with Clyde Frazier. Like I stood there mesmerized. I was like, yo, Clyde, they got Randall bringing down the ball. He don't even got a handle.
No.
Oh my God! Yo, I wanted to die.
I know
Throw
you
me
did.
off the
I know.
roof. No, but that's when I said I can't go no more because I'm getting out of character. Clyde looking at me like, Joe, you always cook. He's looking at me like, and I'm like, yo, Clyde, but what's going on? He got this boy, if you notice, anytime he ain't got a handle.
No.
He ain't AD, he ain't KD.
He dribbles twice, it's an accident.
But he's bringing it down the court, bro.
On plays.
This is basketball
On plays.
101, bro. Like, what's going on, man? I like Fizdale. I like his wife. I know them. They're beautiful people from Miami. But, yo, Fizz, what is going on? And that's, man,
You think they're going to fire Fizz? You think they will?
No comment.
They can't. You can't. It ain't him. You can look at the roster and be like, this isn't the coach's fault right here. This isn't the coach's fault.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Somebody took the confidence away from Dennis Smith Jr. You can see it in his face. He's looking like Falk when he was in Philly.
Good example.
Somebody took his confidence away. That boy was high flying out there in Dallas.
360s.
Must see TV. He came over here. Every time he touches the ball, he has to give it up. I know basketball. I'm tuned in. I got the peripheral vision.
No doubt.
So I see what's going on here. It's bad, bro. It's bad.
You mentioned Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony's back in the league getting buckets. What have you seen from him you like?
Man, I never realized. I love Carmelo. I've always been a fan, but I never realized how much of a fan. I have yet to miss a Portland game. I watched every game since Melo started playing. And man, I just love, God, right? I went to jail for like 4 months, right? Wasn't my fault, but I went. But me sitting down where you can't go nowhere gave me a good time to look at my life, where I was at, the moves I had to make, how to adjust. So I believe God sat Melo down, put him through all that. And then when he got back on that court, he was like, yo, I got game left.
Yeah, he does.
And then with hip hop, with sports, more with sports, but with hip hop and sports, there's a lot of ageism going on. Sometimes you got players say when Al Harrington used to drop 40 a game, and they was like, nah, we want to let the young guys grow.
Jamal Crawford averaged 35 in April. He had a 50-point game.
Not in the league. Not in the league.
He's not even in the league.
The young guys to learn.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
And they're cheaper too,
bro.
The young guys are cheaper
it's
too.
always cheaper. So even if I fly a lot, even when you see the flight attendants, when you see a lady looking about 60, 70, and she been flying for 40 years, she making like $1,000 an hour. They try to find a way to get rid of this lady so they can get the new girl in there for the $20 an hour.
Correct. That's the game.
That's the game. You know what I mean? So, I knew Melo could ball. I said the same thing about Steph Marbury. Steph Marbury should have ended his career in the NBA, not in China.
Well said, yo.
It's something. Thank God we got the Vince Carters, going hard and stuff like that. But it's terrible. But Melo's showing you he could ball.
I want to hear about this album.
Family Ties.
The greatest album on earth.
The greatest album on earth.
I believe that in 10 years or 20 years, someone will make almost like a Hamilton play out of this album.
Ooh.
This album is so crazy, bro. From A to Z. I can't even sleep. I slept like 2 hours yesterday. Like, it's like it's mine and my brother Dre from Cool and Dre's is our baby. But now we got to cut them biblical cord. So we've been going, my ball, like everybody been fighting. And now we got to let it go.
So, Joe.
Let the people, got to give it to the people.
That's right. Give them what they want, Joe.
I'll give the people all what they want.
So we have the youngest audience at ESPN. So I have to make sure these young whippersnappers know you've been doing this for 26 years.
Yeah.
For you,
but they know who Joe Crack is.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen you promote so many albums. I've never seen you this excited about.
Because it's a classic, and I ain't gonna let nobody steal this from me. I ain't gonna take no talk back. Joe is always humble, take the high road. I'm not doing that. This is a classic. It must be heard. Nowadays, back in the days, if I dropped the album December 6th, you had to wait on a snowstorm for hours to go get the CD.
On a Tuesday.
Come out on Tuesday. Yep, on Tuesdays.
Now, all you got to do is
I just pushed the button. I already got it.
So hip hop. I tell people hip hop got what I call a chemical imbalance, to where the OGs can't listen to the young kids. Nah, that's whack if you listen, and the young kids feel like they can't listen to the OGs. So everybody's like kind of stuck in their golden era. So like if I was to categorize him, I would say in the Fab Five era, that's all he's bumping all day in his car.
Yeah.
People are like that, right? But me and Dre, we figured out a formula that could get a 12-year-old kid to love All the Way Up and love Yes, and a 55-year-old rap fan to love All the Way Up and Yes.
Yep.
So we got that. And it's hard to get that to where, we got that Tom Brady in us.
You do.
Fat Joe has that Tom Brady in him. And I'm as
Constant
beautiful
hits.
as Tom Brady. I'm as handsome as Tom Brady.
Much more handsome than Tom
I
Brady.
don't know what to tell you. I keep bumping into guys my age and they look like dinosaurs. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I'm on
we
that
fixed
too.
their teeth.
I did that as soon as I got drafted, Joe.
I haven't seen so many of him. I'm doing the rounds. I'm doing these interviews. I'm like, Jesus Christ. What crane hit this guy? He look like he got half a head.
Who else is on the album?
Oh, Eminem.
Yes.
We got the rap GOAT. Eminem.
You said
we got,
that song was disrespectful?
No, it's incredible. He rapped for like 60 bars. And we got Mary J. Blige on the same song with him. Never.
Wait, what?
Hit the brakes. Wait.
Mary J. Blige and Eminem
In the same song?
They on the same song?
Church on the same song.
And you said he spit how many bars?
About 60 bars.
Wow.
And he's going bad. He said he's the unicorn in the human form. Now this guy crazy. Eminem fans will not be disappointed. We got Lil Wayne
Weezy
going crazy.
Ooh.
We got Bryson Tiller. We got Ty Dolla. We got Jeremiah. We got Remy Ma. We got Cardi B, Anuel. You know, the Latino thing is really big. Anuelito, ¿qué pasa? Yo sé que tú estás mirando, papi. Te quiero mucho, papi. Nah, Anuel, he loves sports. He's tuned in right now.
All right.
He sells out arenas every day. So Anuel, Cardi B. If I forget who else. We got everybody.
Listen.
And it doesn't sound like an album that's a jigsaw puzzle. It's like, the reason I say Hamilton is because Eminem goes so crazy and then Mary comes in and you're like, wow, like, how did this happen? And then it leaks into another song and then musically the music
That's what people miss in
changes
albums.
No,
it has a beginning, middle, and end, like a real thing.
So we usually take 2-3 months to make an album. We took 2 years to make this album. I wanted this to be a classic. I wanted it to sound genius. So when you press play and it sounds productionally and sonic-wise, you know, we got my man Jason Joshua, the best engineer in the world, to mix the song. That means we spent a lot of money.
Good for you. Family Ties is out tonight at midnight. Make sure you get that. Pre-order it right now. Joe, I mean it when I say it. You are welcome to come back anytime.
Build a window.
We'll get you a window. I'm going to get you a security card.
Brother, man.
We'll get you a card. You come in anytime.
And let's just shoot the breeze, man, because the people got to hear the real.
Give the people what they want.
I feel like you guys are the real. So I want to be a part of the real.
You here anytime you want.
Done and done. And I have one favor as a Family Ties.
Yes, sir.
I please get a picture of you and Pun.
You need to be on the wall.
To put on this wall.
We got to put you on the wall. We got to get you on the wall.
I'm going to get you a classic Big Pun. There's one pic that's the most classic. Well, there's two. There's ones that we dressed up as samurais. And we could get you that. And there's one that we dressed up like cartoon characters. We went to the Grammys. Everybody, you know, Kanye West and Lil Pump, they mimicked us in that video.
Oh, that's right.
I love it.
Yeah.
They wore the 10X outfits. That was me and Pun. Rich Paul from Clutch Sports is a producer on the album.
I saw that.
He actually produced the beat with Boy Wonder. They won all the money, Jalen. when Boy Wonder, shout out to Boy Wonder, he's a
dope.
6 God.
Yes,
he turned around and he says, yo, co-producer Rich Paul. Rich Paul who? He said, Rich Paul, you know LeBron's Rich. I'm like, ain't that guy making laws in LA? He got time to make beats.
Let's get it.
Family Ties out now. Jalen Jacoby will be back right after this. Make sure you check out Sunday NFL Countdown every Sunday on ESPN starting at 10 a.m. And don't forget Monday Night Football. Monday at 8 o'clock, it is the Eagles against the Cowboys. Big NFC East divisional rival showdown. That is Monday Night Football every Monday at 8 p.m. on ESPN. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Want to thank Fat Joe for coming through. Make sure you get Family Ties tonight. Jalen, the Pistons lost. Pistons, they're kind of trash. But this game was interesting. They had Giannis and the Bucks in town. And Giannis and Blake were kind of going back and forth all game long. You know I love it. You know I love the pettiness. You know I love the tension, the animosity. Jalen, what do you think about Giannis and Blake going back and forth all day?
This is what competition should be all about. They're in our conference. Blake, unfortunately, was unable to play last year, the most of the series, because he was injured. Giannis is the reigning MVP, and if you give him an inch, he's gonna take a mile. You give him a rope, he'll be a cowboy.
Yeah.
You got to stand up when you go against the best players in the game. And this guy's scoring at a clip in the paint like no big we've seen since Shaq. Except he's also now doing walk-up three-pointers.
He really is.
He's improved that point of his game. So I'm just screaming at the TV last night watching my Pistons. Don't be so mean, Giannis. Like, just don't be so mean. Why you got to be like that on us?
Well, he talked about the back and forth between him and the Pistons after the game. Let's check in.
They already swept us in the playoffs last year.
Let's listen to Giannis Antetokounmpo.
At that point, I was like tired. Like I was, like they're gonna do this all night. At first, I was like trying to like talk back, try to let them know I'm like, this is more than basketball. Like we can stop playing basketball, we can fight.
We can stop playing basketball and we can fight. Do you think he really wants that smoke?
So, he has a wild card
What's that?
that people sleep on.
What's that?
Brothers on the team, too.
Yeah, his brother's on the team. Big brother's on the team.
And I'm going to throw a couple of names out there for you.
Oh.
Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And my guy, Walker D. Russell. And why did I bring those names up?
Not sure.
It's because when Isaiah got left off the Olympic team, it was alleged that Karl Malone had something to do with that. In a game at Utah, Isaiah Thomas drives to the basket. Karl Malone elbows Isaiah Thomas, gives him 25 stitches on his forehead.
What happened next, Jalen?
People always look at that part of the play. They don't look at who's running off the end of the Pistons bench. Isaiah's best friend all the way down there to make sure he had his brother's back. That's what Giannis' older brother would do if something ever took place on the floor.
You mentioned Giannis hitting threes. He hit 4 of 8 3-pointers, tied his career high.
Don't be so mean.
But look at these threes. First of all, just steps into it. He's getting all that space, and he's like, all right, you're going to give me the space, I'm going to take the shot. So, Jalen, he really only hits threes off the dribble. They don't get a lot of those spot-up threes.
He was doing both. He was doing both. Hey, you remember in Slick Rick's Teenage Love, he's like, don't hurt me again.
Yes.
That's how I felt. Because he was dunking in the paint. Jacoby, usually the guy, I don't care where you playing, in the backyard, the park, the YMCA, college, pro, high school, I don't care where you playing. Usually the guy that's dunking on everybody, that's taller than everybody, ain't making threes.
Not hitting the threes, too. There's nothing you can do about that. And if you go out there and try to shut him down, he'll go right past you and dunk.
Correct.
If you give him space, he'll shoot it right in your face.
And also, what else I was thinking yesterday, he's unguardable. Just think about this. Put a bigger guy on him, off the dribble all day. Smaller guy, spin, dunk. In the paint, switch, dunk. Give me a little room, 3. He's balling.
He really is. Let's take a look at the Bucks' numbers through this 13-game win streak. Like, the Bucks are really out here doing it. 13 games, and look at what they've got. 122 points a game, Jalen. 122 points a game, they're shooting 50% from the floor. Jalen, 4 times they've scored over 130 points.
And while I say he has a brother on the team, guess who else have a pair of brothers on that team?
Lopez brothers.
Correct.
Twins.
Correct. And both of those guys, while Brooke hasn't been shooting at the clip this year that he has last year, he'll pick it up. Middleton is playing well. He's a former Detroit Piston. Bledsoe continued to drive to the basket, seeing a slash every chance he got. DiVincenzo is playing quality minutes for them.
Staying in the Eastern Conference, Jimmy Butler put up 37 points for the Heat, but it was not enough to beat the Celtics in Boston. Jaylen Brown had 31 points. He's sneaky, had like a really nice season so far early in the season. So this put the Celtics in second place in the Eastern Conference, above the Heat, which felt a little funny at first to have the Heat and the Raptors up there like that. Do you think the Celtics will stay second in the Eastern Conference throughout the season?
So here's the dynamics that we talked about earlier in this year, and they're kind of playing out exactly in the East how I thought they would. Milwaukee going for the #1 overall seed in the NBA.
Yep.
They going for it. They understand home court in the East and potentially in the finals could be their ticket to possibly winning it all this year. Philadelphia, their best player is Joel Embiid. We know he's going to miss a lot of games.
Yep, always does.
So therefore, I knew that they couldn't have the second best record in the conference based on that. The Boston Celtics have a young bunch, and they're really good and talented. So they understand the marathon. You got Tatum and Brown and Marcus Smart and Kemba, who hasn't been great as of late, but they're going to go hard for the regular season. So don't be surprised if the Celtics don't maintain and keep the #2 seed. I think Philly falls to 3, and I'm about to give you a sleeper. Toronto, give them love like we did on the other day.
Yep.
But I'm going to tell you somebody, do not sleep on.
Who am I not sleeping on?
Indiana Pacers.
When's Oladipo coming back? When is Oladipo coming back?
They're maintaining without him. Malcolm Brogdon is so very mature. When I'm watching games, you know what I call him? Senator Brogdon.
Oh, okay.
He's like he's 15
He's
years
an elected
older than
official now.
everybody else. He's so responsible. He's so philanthropic.
Well, another playoff team in the East was in action last night. The Nets beat the Hawks to get over 500. They're now 11-10, and they're doing it without Kyrie Irving. They had 4 players that had 20 or more points. What do you think about this balanced Nets attack versus when they have Kyrie?
What I tell you about that basketball when it's moving, people feel better about setting that pick, feel better about grabbing that rebound. And unfortunately for Kyrie, this narrative from Boston is now going to dog him with the Nets.
Yep.
Because you see him as a dynamic one-on-one player. He's going to give you the oohs and ahs and break a lot of ankles. But when he going into his bag, not only is the defense watching, teammates are watching too. So now with him being out, give up a good shot to get a great shot. Spencer Dinwiddie has been balling, but still, like you said, they're now understanding they don't have that all-NBA talent on the floor. They're doing it by committee.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Nets with and without Kyrie. Now, these stats can be misleading because you don't really take into account who their opponents are. You know what I mean? But it is noteworthy.
Well, 10 games is a great sample.
It's noteworthy. They're scoring less, but the other team is scoring less, and the field goal percentage is about the same. What do you think about this?
There's something to be said for a group of guys buying into a system that Kenny Atkinson had already set up before Kyrie arrived.
Yeah.
And it's not just without him. They're without Karis LeVert also.
Good point.
And most people would think going into the season that those are their 2 best players. So it just showed you how they're doing a terrific job with that team. We saw DeAndre Jordan playing minutes for them.
Shout out to Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
He's playing well.
We got to get him on the show.
Jalen, sometimes
He got the best goatee in the game.
We need to rely on your experience in the National Basketball Association. And we need you to take us behind the curtain. Chris Paul, no longer on the Rockets, was traded to the Thunder. He said that GM Daryl Morey guaranteed him that he would not be traded. And he said that he was shocked when he was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Felt a certain way about it. Jalen, take us behind the curtain.
Okay.
What happens when you get traded?
Okay. I've been traded 150 times. Okay. This is how this works. Okay. I'm going to detail 2 phone conversations for you. One happened in San Antonio. Okay. You're on the phone with Masai Ujiri.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, you can make a trade and swap DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi. Masai just told DeMar, well, we want to keep you, bro.
Yeah, of course.
And then he walks out of the room and Pop calls. And then you could get Kawhi. Guess what happens?
We're not going to keep you, bro.
That changes.
Yeah, yes.
That changes.
Yes.
Same thing with Chris Paul. It's like, yeah, we love you, CP3.
Of course.
And then Sam Presti called like, oh, Russ available?
You know what you don't say? I'm thinking about trading you. It's like breaking up with somebody. You don't tell them, like, you know what? I'm thinking about breaking up with you. No, one day you just do it.
That ain't true. Because every time you get into a disagreement with your mate, at some point somebody says that. At some point somebody says
you know
that.
who's never saying that? Me. My wife is too good for me. I'm never saying that.
But you're married.
She might take me up on it.
You're married. That's the difference. Mm-hmm. But when you are on a team, you usually clearly don't want the player to know you're going to move them because they're not going to be as invested knowing that you're not as invested in them and their future isn't there.
Jalen, Marcus Morris is out a couple games, and you're going to be shocked when you find out how he got hurt. I'll tell you about that and much more. Me, you, and Method Man. Keep it moving right after this. Jalen, you are very picky about what we discuss on this program. You take it very seriously. So we've got a segment catered just for you.
Thank you.
It's called Keep It Moving. So if you want to discuss the topic, you say hit the brakes. If not, me and Method Man jump in the minivan and keep it moving. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
To Cal.
We have some Eli Manning news. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Future Hall of Famer. They stink this year. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
Got some bad news for Cam Newton. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Cam Newton is going to have foot surgery, which will effectively end his season. Kyle Allen looks pretty good early, but not so good lately. What do you think the future is for the quarterback position in Carolina?
So a few dominoes took place this year with the Panthers.
Yep.
One, they changed ownership. Usually when you change management or ownership, they want to bring in their own people, whether they realize it or not.
Ron Rivera's gone.
So therefore, you make a change to the coach. When the quarterback gets hurt, you think Allen may be the guy. He starts off 4-0. He's not the guy. But then you realize something. We need to build this team around Christian McCaffrey. So I'm happy Cam is getting foot surgery. I believe, of course, he's going to land on his feet elsewhere next year. Speculation early, it may be Chicago.
Maybe with your Lions. Who knows?
Maybe.
Moving on. Tyson Fury is doing something I would never do. Taunting
brakes.
Deontay Wilder. Yes, that's right.
Brakes.
Check out Tyson Fury in his living room, what he had to say about Wilder.
I'm training here. Wilder, sucker. Pop, pop. Don't be sleeping on me, boy. Because you can't eat what you can't see. You couldn't finish me last time. Pop, 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 boom. Boom. Hey, pop, pop. Hey, 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 up. Pop, pop, pop. This is what you call.
I have so many comments. Number one, your living room is too small, dog. I mean, he's a gigantic man. He's rich. He's a champ. Gotta get a bigger bed. Those curtains are terrible. You see those curtains? And he got the baby seat back there. Whoever's filming the thing, probably the baby was filming it. It's such a low angle. You gotta get some more dynamic camera work, Mr. Fury.
I just want fight fans to appreciate the greatness of Deontay Wilder.
I want Tyson Fury too.
Now, granted, in his previous fight, he did lose the first 6 rounds, and he wasn't doing much boxing. But I tell you what, there's somebody that saw Mike Tyson in his prime. Explosive knockouts.
Yep.
He's giving us that.
Yeah.
42 fights, 41 KOs. How about that ratio? We need to go to this fight.
I want to see this fight. Jalen.
Both friends of the program. Hopefully we'll have them on to promote it.
You know how we all have guys that we love in the NBA? Not necessarily superstars, just guys that we love. I've got a new one, Jalen Rose. Devontae Graham. If you're not on League Pass and you're not watching Hornets games, you are missing a breakout star, Devontae Graham. He had 10 threes in the last game, Jalen. 10.
Yeah, hit the brakes on this.
I forgot to say it. I got so excited. Jalen, 10 threes.
And just so you know,
What are you going to tell me?
he had over 10 assists the game before that.
Yes.
And you ready for this?
What?
That's his hometown team.
Oh.
How about that?
I like this.
So,
you know who this is bad for? Terry Rozier.
correct. But this is what I've been saying about their squad. When you pick so many lottery guys back to back to back to back, at some point, you need one of the players on your roster to become a star. Here's a guy that was not a lottery pick, clearly.
No.
Okay? So now all of a sudden, 10 threes in a game, very
I
impressive.
love Devontae Graham. He's one of my guys. Moving on, we have a Nas Carter update. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
We definitely hitting the brakes.
Oh, we hitting the brakes for this one. Every time Nas Carter does anything, we're putting him on the show. He is Jay-Z's nephew. He had 13.6 boards in the game against, I believe, Eastern Washington. Jalen, it was his uncle's birthday yesterday. Do you think he texted his uncle before the game?
Absolutely. Imagine the text that Jay must have got if he wasn't at the hospital when he was born and they was trying to come up with names. Like, so.
How we gotta explain something
We're
to
going to
you.
name him after one of the greatest MCs of all time. Are you going to name him after your uncle? Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
Finally, Marcus Morris has an injury that I can really relate to.
Wow.
Keep moving or hit the brakes.
If you can relate, we got to hit the brakes.
Marcus Morris has a neck injury and he's going to be out a couple games. You know how he got injured?
How?
His 1-year-old son jumped on him while he was in bed. As someone with 3 little children, they have no remorse. They have none, no mercy whatsoever. They will jump on you and treat you like a jungle gym all day long.
And he been knocking down the threes at a high clip this year as one of the best range shooters in the league. I'm pretty sure you could relate, as you said, and the kicking, the elbows,
All of it.
the knees.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I need to wear a protective cup. I need a protective cup. Because these kids don't understand that there's certain parts of the anatomy are more sensitive than others.
I'll finish your joke for you.
What's that?
You always complain about having 100 kids. Maybe you should have wore a productive cup.
No, productive. It was too productive.
Protective cup. Maybe you should have wore a protective cup.
Cowboys and Bears Thursday Night Football is tonight. We'll preview it right after this. Thank you for for tuning in to Jalen Jacoby on television. Don't forget, the experience does not end there. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. We have exclusive content today with none other than Fat Joe. Always get exclusive content on the podcast. Make sure you download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. And welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, I need you to psychoanalyze me for a second.
Okay.
You know, I don't really care about sports teams. I love sports. I love the leagues. I love the games. But I don't really care that much about teams.
You're a Die-Easy fan.
The Cowboys and the Bears play tonight. Why am I always rooting against the Cowboys?
I don't think it's that you're rooting against them. I just think that they get discussed so much.
I feel like I resent that.
And analyzed and overanalyzed and psychoanalyzed so very much. By the time the games start, it's almost like
I have Cowboys fatigue.
Yeah, you have fatigue.
I'm over it. And I root for chaos. And I want them to lose and finally go away and bad things to happen to them. I'm sorry to all the people in Dallas that love the Cowboys. I just don't.
Here's what you should be doing as a football fan, though.
What's that?
Rooting for Dak Prescott. I know that they're 6-6, but as somebody that plays a lot of fantasy football, trust me, you're having a better season than Aaron Rodgers.
Good point.
Than Tom Brady.
James Harden is averaging 39.5 points. In his previous two games, he had 60 and 50. Tonight, they play the Raptors in Toronto. Jalen, you famously recognize the fact that Toronto nightlife is nothing to be underestimated. And James Harden likes to get out. Do you think he can continue his hot streak, or will Toronto nightlife take him down?
Toronto nightlife keeps him under his average.
You think so?
Definitely.
That's going to knock off 10, 15 points of your production.
And it just so happened they got multiple perimeter defenders that can switch out on them. They have Paul, they have Pascal, they got Anunoby. They're really terrific defensively. Their bigs play good in space. Gasol and Ibaka. They've locked down some of the best players in the league. They've held Joel Embiid to 0 this season.
There's something on the line tonight. Something's on the line in the Nuggets-Knicks game.
What's that?
If Nikola Jokic scores under 20 points, I'm way off the bandwagon.
What?
If he goes under 20 points again, this will be, I believe, his 6th straight game of under 20 points. Remember, is this your king right here? Is that your king? Is that your MVP?
Oh, you got clips.
Is that
and
your
everything?
king? Is that your king? Is that your MVP?
Go to work, Joker.
Is that my fault. I thought you were supposed to be in the corner there. Look at the Joker. I got you. Little floater. Jalen, if he goes under 20 tonight, I'm out on the stretch mark 5. Stretch mark 5 is I'm out on the stretch mark 5.
Is that a reflection of who he's playing against? Would you be saying this if he's playing against any team?
Against the Knicks, you gotta get 20. Listen, the Knicks will fix any slump. The Knicks will fix any scoring slump.
I'm rolling with the Joker.
If he doesn't, you think he gets over 20 tonight?
Triple-double tonight.
He's got to.
Triple-double
He's
with 20.
Got to.
Watch.
The stretch mark 5, I'm out on you.
Jokic, don't feel bad if he's not a fan of
stretch
yours.
mark 5.
You're Die Easy anyway.
Thanks to Fat Joe. We'll be back tomorrow. ESPN 2
Family ties.